Ah yes, behold the most logical, infallible, totally airtight belief system ever devised. There is one true God, the almighty, all-knowing, all-powerful creator of everything, who, despite being perfect and incapable of mistakes, somehow managed to create a bunch of sinful, wicked, heathenous morons who just keep getting it wrong. On purpose, of course, because he doesn't make mistakes. But don't worry, the all-powerful deity, who apparently has no other way of fixing this situation, besides, not creating it in the first place, has a master plan. He must be born, but born as his own son, which means he needs a mother, but not just any mother, a virgin mother. And how does that happen? Well, he impregnates the virgin himself, but not in the normal way, because that would mean banging his own mom. No. This is an immaculate conception, meaning he impregnated her without impregnating her, so he could be born of himself, as himself, to himself, because that's just what perfect gods do. Makes total sense so far? So now we have a virgin mother who is also not really a mother, because while she gave birth to him, he is also his own father, but also her son, except he's also still himself, but also a completely different guy, and also a ghost. But not just any ghost, a holy ghost, which is totally different from a regular ghost, because this one is also him, meaning we now have a father, a son, and a ghost, who are all the same person, but also separate, but also the same. A divine 3-in-1 combo pack, the Holy Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, a deity so perfect, he exists in 3 different ways just to confuse the hell out of everyone. And what does he do after pulling off this miraculous, self-induced paradoxical birth? He waits 30 years, because despite being all-powerful, he apparently needs time to grow up before executing the plan, which is to sacrifice himself. But not just any sacrifice. No, this is a self-sacrificial persecution. See, he doesn't just kill himself, because that would be too easy. Instead, he has to get persecuted by the very people he created to persecute him, so that their persecution of him counts as a sacrifice. But not a real sacrifice, because, plot twist, he comes back to life 3 days later. Meaning the only way this omnipotent, all-knowing creator can fix his own creation is by sacrificing himself to himself in order to save us from himself. So, he allows himself to be brutally executed so that he can forgive humanity for being exactly the way he made them. And this apparently fixes everything, even though nothing actually changes because he makes no mistakes, and this was all part of the plan anyway. The self-sacrificial persecution was not for him, but for us. The same sinful, wicked brutes he created as failures on purpose. And now, thanks to his totally necessary, completely unavoidable, brilliantly designed plan, we're all saved, as long as we worship him, obey him, and pretend all of this makes complete and total sense.
But wait! There's more!
But he's gone. Gone? No. He's back.
After temporarily being dead for 3 days, he comes back and announces that the mission was a success. What changed? Absolutely nothing. The world is still a mess. People are still idiots. Sin is still a thing. But don't worry, if we believe really, really hard, we can be saved from the sin he gave us in the first place. And now, after putting himself through this unnecessarily complicated, self-inflicted, completely avoidable mess, what does this all-knowing, all-powerful God do? He leaves, just floats back into the sky and says, "BRB, I'll be back soon." That was 2,000 years ago. And now all of us are just waiting for him to return, even though he already came back from the dead once, but apparently that wasn't enough. So he left again and promised to come back later, which in divine terms apparently means over 2 millennia and counting. Meanwhile, the actual world we live in, completely meaningless. Nature, stupid. The earth, temporary. The entire universe, just a waiting room. The real action happens later, when he finally decides to come back and either beam us up to eternal paradise or burn us forever in a fire pit, depending on how much we kissed his ass. In the meantime, he left us a book, not written by him, of course, because that would be too easy, but by random desert dudes who apparently got everything right the first time, because questioning anything is heresy. And now we all just have to sit around, worship an invisible being, and patiently wait for him to come back and destroy everything. And if you don't believe all of this absolute nonsense, well then you're a barbaric, heathen, idol-worshipping savage who clearly just doesn't get it. Meanwhile, the gods of our ancestors? Nah, too ridiculous. Let's throw out everything we've ever known about nature, honor, and reality and just trust the invisible sky deity who sacrificed himself to save us from himself. Brilliant!